First, I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, and we do so in his son's name, Yahweh Shah. Shalom, shalom, to all the mighty brothers risking their lives day in and day out to wake up the true Israelites scattered among the four corners of the earth. I'm Hadabi Azakwan with a milk class on the fear of the Lord equals keeping the commandments. Right? So we want to start off with Psalms 34 and 11. And it reads, "Come ye children, hearken unto me. I will teach you the fear of Yahweh." So Israel, you need to hearken to these words so that you have a better understanding on how to fear the Most High. Right? We're going to jump down to 13. "Keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it." So we want to focus on what it looks like to depart from evil, because we know our people run to evil, right? Jake kind of run to the fight, and E be right there with him with the kids, then gunshots rang out and everybody did, right? So we want to focus on what it means to depart from evil, right? And we'll go to the book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 8. "And Yahweh said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and eschew evil," right? So the Most High called Job perfect and upright, right? So Job didn't want to be around evil and wickedness, nor did he want it around him, right? If evil was there, right, Job was going the other way, right? We even see an example in that same chapter in verse 5. Right? When Job's kids were what? When they celebrated their own day, when they was keeping birthdays. Job said what? "It may be that my sons have sinned," just in case they sinned to the Most High. See how diligent he was? Just in case they sinned, Most High. "And curse Yahweh in their hearts." So Job prayed for them just in case they sinned. Right? Because he wanted all evil away from Israel. Right? He did not want it to be around it, right? We're going to go to another account in Matthew 12 and 14, right? Go to Yahweh Shah, right? And check this out. "Then the Pharisees went out and held a council against him, how they may destroy him." So the Pharisees, right, kind of plotting up against Yahweh Shah, that they want to kill him. What kind of sense do that make? Evil, man, right? So they probably kind of huddled up a little bit, kind of whispering in each other ear, one of them saying, I'm going to kind of grab him up, right? And then you come from behind me and kind of hit him with and we're going to kind of drag him out. That's wicked, man. You know what I'm saying? But check out what Yahweh Shah did. But when Yahweh Shah knew it, he knew their spirit, man. He withdrew himself, right? He departed from evil. You know what I'm saying? So did Yahweh Shah kind of feed into, kind of grab up the disciples, that, kind of surround the Pharisees and, call them out. You know what I'm saying? And get ready to lay hands on him. No. He did what? He withdrew himself from amongst that evil, because it was more important to teach and heal his people. That was more important than to be involved in a confrontation, right? We're going to go to the book of Proverbs 14 and 27. What that say? Right? "The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death." See, Yahweh Shah understood this. it was best to depart from the snares that the Pharisee was setting up for him, and to bring his people to that living water, to that fountain of life, which is the fear of the Lord. And in doing that, you'll be keeping the commandments, right? Let's go to the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1. We'll bring that out. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1, Salaki. Baruch 4 and verse 1, and it reads, "This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever. All that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." Right? So the commandments, that's our way of life. We are to keep them. When we don't, we die. Deuteronomy 4, 5, and 6 lays it all out for you, right? Those commandments, right, that we need to keep. Because that's our wisdom and that's our understanding, right? Deuteronomy 30 and 15, right? We'll bring that out. And it reads, "See, I have set before you this day life and good, death and evil." Right? See how it goes hand in hand? Life and good is keeping the commandments. Death and evil is to not keep. Right? We'll go to Psalms 111 and 10. 111 and 10, correct. Bring that out. Salakia. Right? And it reads, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." So once you start to fear the Lord, that's a smart decision. Basically, that's what they're saying. That's the best decision you can make, is to start to fear the Lord, right? "A good understanding, having all them that do his commandments," right? So then you'll get a better understanding of what you're supposed to be doing once you start to keep the commandments, right? Then you'll get knowledge, right? Let's get the book of Job, chapter 28 and 28, right? And it reads, "And unto man he said, Behold, the fear of Yahweh, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding." So we see that the fear of Yahweh is wisdom, because that's being smart, right? Because once you start to keep the commandments, you'll understand to make better decisions, right? Meaning what? I can no longer partake in evil, in wickedness. If that means cutting off family members, old friends, so be it, right? Because we ought to do the work of the Most High and not our own, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 15. We'll bring that out, right? "They that fear the Lord will not disobey his words, and they that love him will keep his ways," not your own ways, but his ways, right? What's his ways? 1 Kings 2 and 1 through 3. We'll bring that out. These are the ways of the Most High, right? This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 2 and verse, we'll start at 1. "Now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou for strong." Salaki, "Be thou strong therefore, and show thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Most High thy power, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whither ever thou turnest thyself." Right? So that's the ways of the Most High, to keep his ways, his commandments that he put forth to us, right? And we'll keep reading in Sirach here. We'll go to 16 now. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is pleasing unto him. Right? And they that love him shall be filled with the law. Right? We know how to love the Most High. That's to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Verse 17, right? They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight. Right? So you have to humble down, right? And keep the commandments of the Most High. So now we're going to see if Israel is going to humble down and keep the commandments of the Most High, right? We'll go to Deuteronomy 6:1, right? Let's see. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 1. Now these are the commandments and statutes and judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye may do them in the land whither you go to possess it, that thou mayest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. Right? Because if you don't keep the commandments of the Most High, that's how you die. Right? So if you want to prolong your life, if you want to live long, you're going to do what the Most High say and not what you say, because your ways is wicked. Your ways is going to get you killed. Right? The Most High say, you keep my ways, I'm going to prolong your life. Right? Let's get the book of where I'm going to go to now. I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 10 and 12, right? And now, Israel, what do the Lord thy God require of thee? This is what the Most High requires of us. Off top, to fear the Lord thy God, which is what? Is keeping the commandments. And we're going to finish it out. To walk in all his ways, right? To love him and to serve the Lord thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. So it's in our best interest to keep the commandments of the Most High. Right? It's in our best interest to not do what we want to do, but do what he says do. Right? We're going to go to 2 Kings, give you an example of when we don't keep the commandments of the Most High. 2 Kings here, Salakia. And we're going to go to 17, right? And we're going to go to 34. We're going to start at 34. We're going to start at 33. They feared the Lord and served their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. Unto this day they do after the former matters. Right? So this is relevant to the day, because this is what a lot of our people do. Right? We serve these other gods. Right? And we don't know how to serve the Most High because we don't keep his commandments. Right? We follow the ways of the world. Right? They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandments which Yahweh commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel. So it's talking to you, right? With whom Yahweh had made a covenant and charged them, saying, ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice unto them. Right? And our people sacrifice to other gods. That's why they keeping Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Easter. Right? They serving these other pagan gods, man. You're not serving the true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? and keeping his commandments and keeping his holy days that he has preordained for us to do. You follow the ways of the world, right? Reading on. But Yahweh, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with a great power and with a stretched out arm, him shall you fear. So you should not be fearing these other gods, these other nations. You should be fearing your God, right? And him shall ye worship. And him shall ye do sacrifices, and the statutes, and the ordinance, and the law, and the commandment which he wrote for you, ye shall observe and do forevermore. And ye shall not fear other gods, right? I'm going to get to the point. And the covenant that I have made with you, ye shall not forget, neither shall you fear other gods. But Yahweh, your power, ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. And that's why we still in the hands of our enemies, because we don't know how to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Right? That's why we still in captivity, and we don't even know it, because we don't serve our God. Right? But we just read, when we do, he will deliver us out of the hands of our enemies. Right? Let me get that in Sirach. Look at Sirach 33 and 1. And it reads, there shall no evil happen unto him that feareth the Lord, but in temptation, even again, he will deliver him. Right? So we got to come back and keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High so we can be delivered, because the fear of the Lord equals keeping the commandments. And with that, Shalom.